And I am fired up and excited, guys. We come to you with these calls every single week with the absolute best in the business to help you take your life and your business to the next level. And these are all leading to the Croatia convention, right? A lot of you were on these calls before when we did this every single week leading to Elevate in Orlando, Florida. What you just saw right there is the last convention they had in Rotterdam, right, in Europe. And it was insane, 8,000 people. And so when I tell people that this is a very small picture of what's really happening here, it is. It's a very small picture. And Croatia here in the next few months is going to be insane. It's going to be incredible. And it's going to be something that you're going to leave that convention a completely different person. And you're going to be on fire for this opportunity, and you're going to understand what we truly have. And if you've been to a convention before, type 333 in the chat so I know who on this call has actually been to a convention, and we'll get this thing popping off. So just a few housekeeping things before we get started. Number one, make sure you're taking notes, right? Money makers are note takers. We all know the reality. You're going to forget most of the information that you hear if you don't actually write it down. And number two, make sure your entire team's on this call. I should start doing these calls way earlier because we have a chairman in our organization, Jimmy, in France. It's 3 a.m. in France, right? We have 3 chairmen in the Middle East. It's 4 a.m. in the Middle East. And so here in North America, I don't know what it is. It's tough to get people on Zoom these days. Back when the pandemic was happening, dude, we were having hundreds and hundreds of people flood into these calls. And so promoting needs to get better. We need to get more fired up. I need to deliver. And maybe we change the time, whatever we got to do to flood these calls with everybody we can to get the most value, right? Our foundation is these calls right here. Every single week, people are learning from the best. And tonight is no exception. She's one of the best. She's the #1 recruiter when it comes to the all-in customer sales, right? The all-in pack. She's the #1. If you go to your website, you go to your back office and you hit that leaderboard tab, she's the #1 person on there. And what's crazy about it, she's going to probably tell you her story here in a little bit, but she's from a small town in Canada. She was working 3 jobs before she got started in IM. She was looking for something different. She's been a part of network marketing companies before. And here's what's crazy. Listen to this. She has prospected in her previous company over 800 people. And she had a team of, guess how many? Her 800 people. We're talking about she's an absolute expert, right? You're going to look at her and be like, I don't know how if she can do it. I don't know how I'm going to even be able to do it. She's too good. 800. She had a team of 12. And she got started in this company. She loved the idea, as did I, that you could share this with people and they could make money learning a skill set trading in the markets, but they didn't have to recruit. It was almost a whole different dynamic. As my previous company, the only way you could make money was by recruiting, right? And a lot of people struggle with the recruiting part, which I get. It's a skill set that you learn over time. It takes time to learn that. It takes time to become an individual that can lead people, that can influence people. And so she prospected over 800 people in her previous company with a team of 12 here. She got the ball rolling right out of the gate, and within 18 months hit the level of Platinum 5,000. And in her own words, one of the worst recruiters of all time in this industry. But she made a decision. She says, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I want freedom for my life. I want to empower, I want to enrich and educate the lives around the world, especially the women out there, the busy women out there. And now she's the #1 on the leaderboard for the all-in packages. It's incredible what she's doing. And that's why I reached out to her last week. I say, hey, we would be honored to have you on the call this week if you'd be free. I know she's busy. She's always working, ripping calls. Like I said, she's from Canada. And like a few of them in Canada, once they hit a certain level, it's like, hey, we don't need to be here anymore. She doesn't work jobs anymore. She does this full time. She's a full-time entrepreneur online, and she moved. She's in Panama. She's traveling the globe. She's living her best life, literally. And so I'm super fired up and excited for you guys to hear from her today. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Miss Shanda Wright. Type fire, fire, fire in the chat. Shanda, you are live. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hop on this call.
Hi, thanks, Joey. I appreciate it. Let's get some sevens in the chat for Joey Wilson, Chairman 100. I mean, talk about going the way, showing the way, and really being in there with you. It's very rare to find a leader who's in it, right? In it to win it. There's a lot of people who've done it and they're riding on their laurels, or it was a once upon a time story, but Joey's still on calls. He's still working with people. He's recruiting constantly. I'm in several group chats with the guy and I can tell you he's in it to win it. So if you have the chance to work with him, to have him on a call, to get your people in front of him, there's no question that you are in the right place. And it is such a blessing, because here's the thing. You know, network marketing is not for everybody. And I truthfully believe that. It's for the entrepreneurs who don't want to do fulfillment, don't want to do payment processing, marketing, logistics. It's also for the people who believe, like Eric Worre says, that having a industry where personal development with a compensation plan attached is a valuable thing, which is my story, because I was bad, y'all. Like literally legendarily bad when I started. But here's the thing, I didn't have another shot. I had nothing else. This was my plan B, but it eventually ended up my plan A. Actually, it was my plan C, right? So I had my job, I had my business, and then I had this, and it ended up being my plan A. And so, you know, there's a lot of people where this is their one chance at a Super Bowl, their one chance at a life that's uncommon. And so one of my favorite things about this industry is that people that are way more successful than us, people who have made way more money than us, and people who know things that, quite frankly, we shouldn't even have access to learning. They have a financial incentive to work with us. And just because they have a financial incentive does not mean they have to, okay? You could be a top recruiter and not align with the values of the person who's a part of your leadership team. And they don't have to work with you. It's still a choice. That was actually one of the things that got me into this industry. Is I was like, I had a lot of coworkers that I was like, if I didn't have to work with you, I wouldn't. And so the idea that I could choose who I worked with, I was like, shut up. But also keep in mind, that means your leaders do too. So when you have access to someone who has the kind of track record that Joey does, that has the kind of accolades that Joey does, then don't take that for granted. Taking leadership for granted is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make in this industry. And it's been one of my biggest keys to success. I've been able to find people who have what I want. And I've been able to say, even if they give me advice that's uncomfortable, even if they give me correction that's uncomfortable, is it true? Is it helpful? Do I need it? Why am I adverse to it? Right? What I have right now, how I think, what I'm doing, it's not getting me the results I want. What they have, what they're doing, the way that they think is getting them the results that I do want. So maybe I need to change. So instead of being right, I'd rather be rich. And so when I started looking at their stacks, at their results, and then I started looking at their advice, I realized that, you know, and there's this common saying, you know, if you wouldn't trade places with them, don't take advice from them. Well, then why aren't you taking everything your leaders say literally? Because for real, yeah, that's true about your broke Uncle John. But why are you not flipping that on reverse for Joey Wilson? Why is there even one stitch? And I'll tell you right now, I was not the most coachable, but I was a tennis ball and I kept bouncing back and I kept bouncing back and I kept bouncing back. And that's how I developed the skill sets and the mindset and the ability to continue to stay a learner and a student instead of getting high on my horse or getting, you know, too big for my britches and ending up not getting the success that ultimately I wanted. And so you get to weigh your results with your coachability. And I promise you, when you have access to someone like Joey, someone like Richard, someone like Melanie, someone like Greg, someone like Alex, don't take that for granted. Okay. So that's the number one key I can give you is do what they say what they do. If someone calls you a copycat, hey, one of the biggest compliments I ever got is, hey, you kind of sound like Melanie. I'm like, thank you. I think they meant it as an insult because they're like, you know, you're kind of copying, like you're not original. I was like, my original doesn't pay, doesn't bring fulfillment, doesn't impact lives, doesn't let me travel. If I sound like Melanie, I have her results, that's cool. And it was an opportunity for me to try something a little different, but you have to try it on before you can feel it. And I believe that in order to have an identity shift, you have to try it on. Right? You have to try it on. It's not an ultimate decision. I decided that this was a skill set that I was going to build. Why? Because when I started in the industry, I just knew I hated my job and I hated being just over broke. That's all I knew. I knew I was working too much and making too little. I knew that spending my vacation time fixing my house or camping wasn't enough for me. And that after years and years and years of it, that I wanted more. But it was way harder than I expected. Like way harder. And then there's people, you hear about these stories about people like Melanie Greeno who go and they hit 7 figures in their first couple of years. And same thing with Alex Morton or, Greg Greeno, rookie of the year. That was my story. I sucked. So I was like, is this a skill set or is this something you're born with? And they kept saying it's a skill set. It's a skill set. And they said, if, 50% of people are going to be here at the next convention, 50% of people are going to be at the next convention, 50% of those people are going to be at the next convention. And if you stick and stay, you'll get your pay. And the only promise I made is that I would be at every convention and that I would stick it out longer than everyone else. And to this day, the people that were in their team back when I started to now, I'm the only one still standing. There's been a lot of people who've come since then. And obviously some of them have even surpassed me in terms of results, but that stick and stay and get your pay deal, that's what I got. Okay. So that promise was worthwhile. And I believe that events change lives. For me, I never had one of those breakthrough moments. I never had one of those like, hey, and I left the event, my business skyrocketed. I didn't have that. I left the event. I've gone on tours. I've gone on recruiting sprees, and I truthfully believe, and this is something that Alex Morton actually said, he said that he built his first company and he lost his team. And you hear a lot of people talk about rebuilding, and it's part of the story, right? Nothing goes up and down. Healthy retracements are real in business as well as in trading. That's what I love about the trading industry. It's like, they get it, right? If there's no retracements, what is that called? An imbalance. What happens to imbalances? It always comes back, right? So your business is going to meet you at your skill set. So the conversation, because I've had the opportunity to actually earn some very intimate masterminds with Alex Morton, which is probably one of the biggest accolades in my career. The checks are nice. The bonuses are great. That all-in bonus was great. I highly recommend the Frenzies. 10 out of 10 recommend you guys, and I'll give you some tips on how to go all in and how to help people enroll that here tonight. But being able to get access to someone who's a Forbes top 30 under 30, who's been in Rolling Stone magazine, who is a legend in my industry and did it all before his 35th birthday, that's an accolade that I am really proud of, because I grew up in a town where I'm not the girl that I got to sit at those tables. At best, I got to get them coffee. But usually I was sitting in the beige cubicle outside while they met in the boardroom. And I worked for the richest man in Canada, and I worked for him for 11 years. And I made him over $4 million in revenue that I brought in from my position. And he didn't even know my name. So when Alex Morton invited me to his house, when he said, "Hey, Shanda, how are you?" that meant more to me than I can even say. And so what I can tell you is that this industry gives you access to individuals you shouldn't have access to by a lot. My accolades, my background, my income level, I shouldn't have access to that. But one of the things that he said is that when you are a team builder, you have the ability to make changes in people's lives. He says recruiting is the answer. I don't know if you guys have ever heard him say that, but recruiting is the answer. And what I can tell you is that that's the answer for you in your heart. Yeah, Rita, right? Have you guys when was the last time you talked to someone who just got started? I have a lady who got started on Saturday. She got an all-in pack. Part of my onboarding process is I make people print off 3 months of bank statements and look at where they're wasting money, because I believe financial sovereignty is a part of your financial success. You can't waste money in your bank account and make money in your trading account. You can't have your bank go into overdraft and build to chairman. I don't believe it. I believe that stewardship is a law. And so part of my onboarding process is to do a bank account audit. 16% of her income plus $300 in overdraft fees. It's changed her life. It's been less than a week. The thank you messages I'm getting, she's stoked, man. She's trading with our team. She's like in there. She's doing the math. She's like, she's enjoying every moment, and it's been life-changing for her. And what I can tell you is having people like that in your life, like when people are starting to get it. Do you guys remember your first week here where you're looking at your demo account, you're like, this isn't You ran your compound calculator and you're like, I says, pardon? Then you start seeing the Forex statement on the bottom of your bank account statement at your bank. You're like, wait, my bank's trading Forex? You're like, how old is who? Which educator? Do you know how many educators we have that are under 30? It's insane. And like 90% are under 40. Like what? Freedom 55 was a big goal. Like we have something really special here. And so recruiting as the answer is a big deal. And having those new people in your life as a team builder, as a leader. I mean, I have the opportunity to work very closely with Mel and Greg and Richard. And I tell you what they get excited about. Rank advancements. Congratulations, Elaine. I'm so freaking stoked for you. Richard told me today, he's like, Elaine hit P150. I was like flipping out. I was like, I'm going to leave my dinner table to go congratulate her. That's a huge deal. But it's new rank advancements and new recruits because new blood is the lifeblood. So what I want you guys to know, yes, Ty, and you are rocking it. I'm so freaking proud of you, man. Watching you just like take the mission and run with it is pretty exciting. And you give inspiration to people above and beneath you in the structure. There's no above or beneath in the real world. We're all equal at a spiritual level. So what I want to go through today is how to go all in on leadership. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of my story because there's no reason that I should be here. There's no reason I should have earned this mentorship. There's no reason that I should be allowed to speak on these calls based on my past or based on my history or my design. It was a decision, and then it was the decision to master the skill set. When I started building, it was pre-COVID. And then once the pandemic happened, I had to build online. And that was a shift. And I didn't know how to recruit without Melanie doing a house meeting for me. So I had to learn how to do that. And I remember every single day listening to Eric Worre, just listening to the same chapter and listening to the same skill set and just going ham on it. And then practicing and failing and being uncomfortable. And for those of you who suck, I feel like I'm the poster child for the people who suck at this, right? Maybe you're an Alex Morton, maybe you're a Melanie Greeno, right? One of the things that was a big takeaway from Alex for me is that after he lost his first business and he decided to launch IM, he made God a deal. And he said, I promise I'll build it right this time. And I'll teach people what I know. Because in the first time, he was the superstar. But now, do you know how many chairmen that guy's created? I believe that being consciously competent in the skill sets of building a business, recruiting customers, activating leaders, getting referrals from your customers, I believe those skill sets, when you master them, create financial security unparalleled. Same thing with trading. Right? Doesn't matter what the company does. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what country you're in. You have a cell phone and an internet connection, you're good to go. I actually met someone who built a multi seven-figure business, not in this company, on Instagram. Instagram wiped his account. But he had the skill set and the mindset to build an audience, convert on that audience, and to go and actually convey and get results for his clients. So within 12 months, he had a 7-figure business on LinkedIn. What if you had that level skill set? With Alex, he specifically became consciously competent enough that he could teach other people. Could you teach someone how to do the presentation? How to peak, how to pass, how to plug, how to promote, how to make a post? If what you're doing is special unicorn stuff, then that makes it hard, right? Here's the thing that's really cool about sucking at this is you have to learn it. And maybe you're like Melanie or Greg or Alex, where you come out of the gate and you win. I mean, Joey's had a road, right? Maybe you're a fast winner, or maybe you're someone who has to crawl, then walk, then run, and has to be bad before they're good, and good before they're great. And has to start before they can even be bad at it. Has to take all the hits on the chin. Maybe you're that guy. Maybe you're the Sylvester Stallone of this industry, just like I am. You guys know his story? He took like 1,000 rejections and no one would let him play Rocky. He had to sell his dog to be able to eat. Go study that guy. For me, I take pride in that. Why? Because I didn't I didn't go P1 in my first 4 years. Okay. So when I say this is a skill set, I mean, you got to decide to master it. You got to decide to implement it. You got to decide to go for it. And then you got to do the work, and you're going to learn by doing. It's like carpentry. You can read all the books you want. You can read all the books you want, but you ain't no journeyman carpenter till you built a few houses. Okay. So this is a trade skill. This isn't a theoretical skill. There's not a doctor in the world that makes 6 figures until he's been on site. You might graduate and get a job, but you're not getting a career, and you're certainly not hitting 6 figures at it. So I've got a presentation here, and I call it Becoming an All-In Leader because I love the name of the pack. First of all, I think that's pretty fire. When my mentors, Melanie and Greg, were recruited by Alex Morton, he recommended they go with the top pack because then they could try everything and pick what was right for them. Here's the cool thing about studying Alex, right? Study those who have what you want, do what they do. He actually has recruited a lot of top team members, traders, builders, doesn't matter in this company. And they all trade different things. How cool is that? I feel like that's a badge of honor. People don't have to have the same. And this is why I started focusing on women, because when I started trading, when I started inviting people to do this with me, people are like, I was trading US Open. And if you're trading US Open, y'all know what time that is, between 9:30 and 6, depending on which time zone you're in. And the ladies I was talking to, they're like, that's when my kids go to daycare. That's when my kids wake up. I literally can't. So they felt disqualified because they couldn't do it. Then I found London. Then I found crypto. Then I found time-based trading. And I was like, if I could find a time that worked for your schedule, would you be ready to master the skill? And they're like, if this is real, I don't have time for a financial or a disappointment. I don't have time or energy for a disappointment. But if this is real, then yeah, I'll make time for it. But I can't do it at 7 a.m. I can't do it at 6 a.m. I can't. And so it made me curious. And I believe that creating, like, if you pigeonhole yourself into one product or one educator, then you disqualify people, and people are looking for a reason to say no because they think that they've been sold that this isn't for them, right? By the world. So I believe that giving them access to all the educators, all the products, all the styles of trading gives them actually an opportunity to say yes, not an opportunity to say no. So I want to help you guys learn how to do this. And this is the exact strategy that I've used to become the #1 all-in pack, AKA top pack enroller in the entire company over the last month. Okay. So can you guys see my screen? I know you can't. You guys are good? Okay. So the process of being an all-in leader has 3 steps. You have to decide that you're the leader, create a vision that's backwards from the goal, create a marketing and sales strategy that casts that vision. And I'm going to share with you my process for deciding and creating a vision for, and then the strategy to create all-in momentum and how you can too. So deciding that you're the leader, deciding that this is for you, that you actually want to do this, you have to figure out what it is that motivates you. So I'll tell you what motivated me. There has to be money on the table. There has to be results for the people I work with. There has to be a low time commitment because I'm busy. There has to be people I like and want to work with. There has to be no drama, no gossip. There has to be success stories, and it has to be fun. Because if it's not those things, I'm out. That's not my idea of a good time. Second thing is to create a vision that's backwards from the goal. So start with the end in mind, okay? So I want to walk you through how I made this decision of what the end looked like and how to backtrack that to the beginning. So here, imagine someone graduates, right? And medical school is a very good example. If you go to class, but you don't pass, if you don't actually submit your homework, you don't actually do the deal, you can pay all the money and you can show up for 4 years or 8 years, but it doesn't mean you're a doctor. Still gonna pass the deal. So for me, I think about this as a course that you have to pass, which means you have to prove you've mastered the skill and understand the information. So at the end, imagine you master the skill. I don't care how long it takes you. You're a successful 6-figure trader, e-commerce store owner, networker, social media influencer, and crypto portfolio holder. Okay, so if that's the end, that's the degree, right? What does Alex call it? An MBA, massive bank account, right? That's what's on that end. So what's the step before that, right? We're reverse engineering. A mind that's expanded, so far it can never return. I promise you some of you are in this step. where you haven't learned enough to master the money part, but you have learned enough where you can't go back. You're like, there's no way I'm trading time for money. There's no way that this is all there is. There's no way I can unsee what I've seen. And I believe that when someone's here, all I got to do is get them connected to the right educators and they're good. Okay. Now, one step before that, right? Reverse engineering, auto-suggestion and the law of hypnotic rhythm. So the definition, as far as I'm concerned, is the habit of showing up over and over to people who have what they want and can expand their understanding. So when it becomes a habit to show up to go live, when go live is your lifeline, when you are getting the auto suggestion, the repetition of financial freedom, of mastering the markets, of I'm not a victim of the news, I can actually capitalize on the news. When digital IDs and digital currency isn't something that happens to me, it's something that I can create and work from. That's a totally different mindset. And the auto suggestion is a powerful tool. And once you get into the habit of it, game over. One step before that, knowing where to go and how to use the tools. This is like a big deal, right? I don't know how many of you struggled with TradingView, but I was one. Technology isn't the thing that comes naturally to me. And then there's one step before that, right? Knowing it's okay to suck at stuff we've never done. This is the biggest thing I find. I specialize in working with women over 35 to help them get out of their jobs and spend more time with their families and travel the world. So the women I work with have full-time jobs, have full-time families, have, you know, a fitness routine they're trying to stick to, right? There's memes about it. This is me trying to drink enough water and keep all the ducks in a row, right? My ducks aren't in a row, they're squirrels and they're at a rave. That's my team, okay? And what happens is we have this expectation of being good at stuff because we've had this job for 10 years or we've, you know, been doing this thing. We don't have this grace for the experience. And when you know that you're not supposed to be good at stuff you've never done, and then you have help where you need it with the tools and technology, so you know where to go, you know who to call. And, you know, my grandma right now, she's 76 years old and she's learning how to trade. Shout out to grandma, freaking love watching her crush it. You know, she averages 30 pips a day, no big deal, just the best trader in our home. She's insane, I love it. But there was, when she first got started, she was logging in on her iPad. And on her iPad, she was trying to go to the favorite section of her favorite Go Live educator, and they weren't showing up. And we realized that Safari wasn't loading favorites. We had to go to Chrome. So when you have help where you need it with the tools and the technology, right? When Apple didn't have MT4 and we had to help people navigate that, sometimes that level of frustration, if you didn't know anything about trading and you were still kind of like, is this a thing? Can I do it? And MT4 wasn't available, right? That's the stuff we need help with. And we also need to be okay with the figuring it out phase. And then one step before that is to get started and decide to commit. So this journey is what I got really excited about because I could see the process. I knew that once I could help someone through each step, they would get to the next and then ultimately get the results that they came for. So then we got to make sure there's money in it, right? So here's the deal. The company pays me $400 for 3 people joining in 7 days. This is the same thing for you, okay? There's a lot of people that an extra $1,200 a month would change their lives. So why are we talking about 3 a week, 3 a week, 3 a week, 3 a week, right? What does Matt Rosa say? P150 every week and you're golden. Well, let's show them how. Here's the thing though. Think and Grow Rich says that there is a habit people have and it's expecting something for nothing. So what I had to ask myself, if I'm going to go and I'm going to create this and they're going to pay me this, what can I give that can help them with this process? Now, here's what Eric Worre says. The best leaders would sell themselves, and you get me. So what can I bring to the table? So I thought about it. What can I do to help, right? I'm not the best trader in the academy. And quite frankly, teaching technical skill sets isn't my strength. When it came to how I could encourage people, how I could create community, I'm not the best encourager. I'm not the best leader. I'm not the best chain breaker. I hang out with literal legends. You hang out with Melanie, Greg, Richard. Like, are you kidding me? Alex Morton, Joey Wilson. Like, who am I? I'm really good at strategy. I'm an integrator. I'm not a visionary. I'm not a promoter. That isn't my skill set. Otherwise, I would have been better at this much sooner on. But what can I do to help? I can get them off the ground. I can get them into a habit. I know how to download MT4. I know how to set up TradingView. I know where to find go lives, and I know where the academies are. I know how to get them started. So I decided that I would offer the ability to do that. So what I thought about was my time commitment, right? So any customer I've ever gotten started always gets an onboarding call from me. So I said, what if I have 3 people? That means I could do 3 calls instead of 1. And then I was like, what if I cut them in half? So instead of giving them everything they need all in one call, because it's a lot. I don't know if you guys remember your first day at the academy, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Like that is the number one piece of feedback that I felt. So for me, I was like, what if I give them bite-sized pieces? I didn't get them to join every chat and every Facebook group and go to every go live and find all the academies and download every app in the first day. But instead I got them plugged in to the team trainings. And then I got them plugged into the 100 series. And I got them plugged into go live. And then I got them plugged in to using their demo account. And then I got them, and then I got them, and I did it piece by piece. So I could offer 6 calls where I offered them pieces as they moved forward instead of trying to give it all to them at the beginning and seeing what they do with it. So that was my vision. That's what I got excited about because I was like, wait a second, I could do this. And if we do it as a team of 3 people, so 3 plus 1, so I'm the 4th, but 3 of them, then that's going to create a sense of community. That's going to create a mastermind, right? People, Think and Grow Rich says that the number one reason that people do not end up doing something that's ultimately successful is because they tell their dreams to people who don't believe in them. So you can only talk to people in your mastermind who have a similar dream, a similar direction about what it is that you want. So I was like, how do I create that for people? Because group chats and group calls are nice, but I can't be the community for everyone. They need to have other people. Now, we're actually hosting a women's retreat here in Panama. We're going to be hosting another one, like a Super Saturday with Melanie in Kelowna in August, which is really exciting for me because when we can get together in person, be trained, be equipped, it just changes things. And so for me, I'm getting my whole team to go to Kelowna. I've got a ton of my team here in Panama. It's all about getting them connected to my mentors and coming together. But having this onboarding, this like everyone starting at the same time thing was really powerful. So I know where they're starting, what they're getting, how I can help and what's in it for me. I got excited. I knew how I could create that community in that mastermind. So because I could see the results of what's happening for them, have you guys ever fallen in love with the results? I remember this when I got started. I was drowning in debt. I was frustrated. And I told Melanie my situation. And what did she say? She's like, I'm excited for you. And at first I was like, you're twisted. Like something's wrong with you. Like, why would you be excited for the fact that I have something that's really challenging? But the truth was that she's like, I can see it finished. And I've asked her many times over the last 7 years of being in this industry and being able to follow her, as I was like, why do you keep believing in me? What made you stick it through the hard times when I was really ego driven and really not coachable and really bad at this? She's like, I saw you finished. And I promise you that either you work with someone who can see you finished, or you're at a point in your business where you can see other people finished. Hindsight is 20/20. So your mentor's hindsight is your foresight. And if you can't see the path that's ahead of the people that are joining you, find someone who can and let them be a part of your recruiting process because it's exciting. You can literally see their problems disappearing and their truth being lived. So this was my personal motivation for leading people through something, is knowing they'll succeed if they follow through. Now it's not my job to make them, but still. So now how do I market it, right? So cast the vision and start people at step 1. They have to decide and commit. So here's how I promoted it. I made a post saying I'm taking on 3 people in the next 7 days to join my mastermind to learn how to trade, e-com, crypto, travel, social. If you're brand new, you can say my mentor is, or I just signed up for, and there's 3 more spots. I have a referral, like I could get you a call. I made a list of 50 contacts that I thought of when I had this idea and got excited. Keep in mind, your vibe attracts your tribe, and the talk, like Bob Proctor, if you aren't in the MMX, go plug into him because he talks about the level of vibration. So when you're excited, you're full of joy, you're full of love, you're full of like anticipation, who comes to your heart? Those are the people that are likely at the same level of vibration as you and are looking for this, are praying for this, are asking for answers. So write their names down. And then I reached out to them right away while I was still in that energy. And I said, hey, I'm working on something that made me think of you. You could say, I've just joined a program with my mentor, or my mentor's opened up. Doesn't matter how you position it, if it's you or them. I've got 3 spots for a mastermind where there's extra support and coaching to get you started on how to learn the skill of making money online. And it made me think of you. Are you open to learning how to add extra income right now? Now, if they're not open to making more money, like they're not my avatar. That's like a criteria. Like if you don't want more money in your life, for sure, that's a reason we can't work together. But in my experience, it was I would say that I had probably a 50% yes rate. Then if they wanted to look at it, I would get them to look at the freedomlaunch.com. That's our team website. It has the overview of all the academies. It's an 11-minute video Melanie Greeno does. Some great training on there. And then I asked them to sell me on the fact that they are ready. I was like, so what about this appeals to you? Like, why is now the time? Why is it that you want this now? And I started asking them, this is my biggest sales tip, is make them deal with their objections before you give them the offer. I wouldn't say, do you want to join my team? I wouldn't invite them into my business. I would say, okay, well, I've only got 3 spots. So I'm looking for someone who's actually going to succeed at this, someone who I know actually has what it takes. And I thought of you first, obviously, because you're an amazing person, but I got to know, like, what makes you desire this? Tell me about your situation right now. Okay, well, it takes a lot of time and money on my part to help someone. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions to see if you're going to be, in a place where you can actually make the most of this. Do you have 5 to 10 hours a week that you can invest in your education? Are you willing to be coachable and teachable? Why now? If not this, then what? Then I would say, you know what? I do think you're a good fit. And I would cast the vision of the group, not the academy. The academy has a track record. I don't have to question that. As far as I'm concerned, you cannot find better for less. And actually, the fact that it's so cheap is a problem. People value things they spend money for. And there is a status symbol attached to price tags. Why do you think Hermes or Lamborghini, or why do you think these things have a prestigious connection to them? Because of the price tag. So for me, when something's a few $100s, that's what people spend at Costco. Thank you, Darla. You have to realize that just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's not valuable. And I know what it costs to get this caliber of education in the market in terms of results and in terms of the character of the people in the company. So for me, just because it's cheap on the scale of the world, doesn't mean it's not valuable. So I have no questions about the academy. I didn't even talk about the academy. I said, I'm taking on 3 people. I'm helping them with a small group chat. We've got 6 coaching calls that are going to happen to get them off the ground. I'm going to show them my favorite educators and help them through the process of navigating the technology, the logistics, and setting aside the time. What do I do in my first call? Get me your calendar, show me your go live schedule, right? How to block off the time, how to find the money to invest in themselves. Go print off your bank statements. Show me how much you spent on Starbucks, NSF fees, stuff you didn't need. I'm going to get you access to my mentors, the best in the world. And I've only got 3 spots. It closes in 7 days. And I would like to give you the opportunity to pick one of those spots. Now, I work with action takers, right? Because successful people make decisions quickly and change them rarely. So does this look like kind of help you're looking for? Most of them said yes, probably 75% closing ratio. Okay, so sound like kind of help you're looking for. They need to convince me they're ready. So when they said yes, I said, great, tell me why. Don't take just anyone. You have to work with these people, remember? Then I would say, okay, so the first month's 500, the second month is 185 to 385, depending on which academies you decide to keep. I'll walk you through how to change it as part of your coaching. Sound good? They're like, yeah, cool, here's the link. There was one lady, who said, can I get a smaller pack? I said, yes, but you don't get the private chat or the coaching. I'll do one call with you to make sure you're set up, of course, because that's normal onboarding. But if you want to be a part of the mastermind, it's going to be 500 for the first month. She made it happen. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I'm closing the opportunity in 7 days. So I'm not sure if or when I'll be opening it again. And there's only 3 or 2 or 1 left. So I'll tell you right now, I did my direct reach outs before I started promoting it on social media. and I already had one signed up. So I started promoting it the same day that they signed up. And I said, I have 3 spots available. Then the next day I said, I have 2 spots left. So it created scarcity and fear of loss online and in my conversations. And then I asked them this question: do you want to join the mastermind or just the academy? So remember that the coaching at the level of I Am Academy is normally thousands of dollars per academy. And the average person spends $500 a month, $17 a day on HomeSense, gas stations, gas station food, lottery tickets, coffees, eating out, weed or liquor. So they have the money, they just don't have a leader in their life. Okay. Most people are drifting. They are following their cravings and the marketing that run them. It is your job to step in and help them create a new path. By taking that money off the table, they're going to make new choices. By investing and committing to their future, and by helping them make that choice, you're going to help them change their lives. By having them get access to every academy, they get to decide which one to pursue. And when they take responsibility for their choice, they take ownership. When they take ownership, they commit. When they commit, they win. So by having them start with the all-in pack, they are more likely to go the way they should go and get what they came for and end up in a better situation than they could otherwise. And truthfully, the more you pay for something, the more you value it. And you're going to start targeting higher net worth people. How many people have you worked with at the 3rd month? They're like, I don't have the money. Guess what? There's 22 million millionaires were created in the last 12 months. 70,000 Lamborghinis were sold like in the last couple of years. 40 million first-class tickets were purchased globally in the last 12 months. I promise you, you can find 3 people who have $500 to create financial freedom. So when it comes to deciding, you have to decide that you're sold on it. You have to decide that you're sold on this company, you're sold on the opportunity, you're sold on financial freedom, you're sold on these mentors. But you also have to make sure that you've stepped into that leadership role of helping them get what they came for and not spend it at Walmart. And help them choose. Because if they're choosing the academy, then it's their choice. And now it's not your fault. It's their decision. People hate to be sold. They love to buy. So help them do that. So that's my strategy for selling the all-in pack. That's the way that I was able to create it. I got to 3 and then I had more people to talk to. I had people I had reached out to booking calls. I had people DMing me, and I went to those 3 people and I said, what do you guys think if I add in a few more? It means you get more calls. So instead of 6, I'll give you 12 if I add 3 more. And they're like, okay, sounds great. We trust you. Like, that's really cool. Now, are 80% of people not going to do it? Yeah, for sure. I expect that, but 20% are worth it. So when you do it as a group, it creates a really cool community. So, and keep in mind, all-in packs, all you need is 8 to go P6. So if you go and you put in 9 people in the last 30 days into all-in packs the way that I did, not only will you get your $1,200 in bonuses, fast starts, you'll hit P600, and that's before anyone does anything. And the number 1 question people ask when you get off the phone as a leader to the person that connected them to you, which package did you get started with? I pray that you and the people you enroll can say, I started with the top packs. I'm a top pack person. And I promise you, I'm a top pack person. I identify as someone who likes to sit first class, as someone who likes to pay for the best, someone who likes to buy the top. And there's people out there that feel the same way. So by asking them to join you at the top pack, then they can. And people can buy the empowered. It's a great option. But if you don't give them the choice and you don't sell them on it, they're not going to buy it. So thank you so much for having me. Like I said, you guys are connected to literally one of the best leaders in this company, in this industry. I'm so glad that you all have access to this training, these people. If you're not following the Greenos on MMX, 10 out of 10 recommend. If you haven't watched Bob Proctor stuff on there, 10 out of 10 recommend. It's been my lifeline and the key to my success is those guys. So I'm going to hand it back to you, Joey. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, shanda.life. Of course, I have fake profiles just like all of us. So do not accept, I do not ask for money. I will not guarantee returns. That's not a thing. But I am constantly sharing training and prospecting, recruiting stuff on there. I would love to see you on Instagram. And seriously, if you have a chance to work with Joey, with Richard, with Mel, with Greg, don't squander the opportunity, because sometimes you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So thanks, Joey.
Let's go. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it so much. And yeah, like she said, what package do you guys got? It's time for some of you to go upgrade right after this call. But not only that, I joined this company. In my previous company, it was what was it? 180 customers, paid 600 pure residual. 180. Here, I was like 12. Dude, it's done. We're going to build the most solid foundation in the world by getting thousands of platinum 600s. Now it's only 8, like she said, 8 people. And she laid it out exactly how to go do it. And what's the worst case scenario? Maybe they don't say yes to the all-in, but they grab that empowered pack anyways. So I think it's just a win-win. And that's why I wanted to have her on here to share what she's doing that's working, because obviously she's making a killing going out there, following this system that she created, and they're crushing it. So she's number 1 on the leaderboard for a reason, and she knows exactly what she's doing. So that's awesome. If you got some value, guys, type 777 in the chat. And listen, for me, after this call, I'm going to go take that. I got these screenshots here of what she posted, and I'm going to go get to work. I got to go dig the ditch, because this is unacceptable. How many people are on this call right now? It's unacceptable. And I put it on my back. It's my responsibility, right? You know, if it is to be, it's up to me. And I know you guys are thinking the same thing. So let's go take this thing to the next level, guys. Let's go dig the ditch throughout the week, find some leaders, and set up some launch calls and take this thing to the next level. And with that, I appreciate you guys very much for hopping on. And Shanda, you are a boss. Thank you so much. And we'll be talking soon. Let's get it.